So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody out there, all of you beautiful viewers around the globe, and welcome to another series of intimate conversations with myself, host Mandy Horton. And today's guest we have Faye Rogers. So thank you, Faye, for
Mm.
coming in and chatting with us.
Well, thank you, Mandy, and hi to everyone that's going to listen in. Yeah, hope you're having a great day. Mm.
Beautiful. I will just read your bio to introduce you to everyone so they know what part of this conversation is going to be around and about. So, Faye Rogers has been
Mm.
energetically and intuitively working with animals and people for over 20 years.
Mm.
Renowned as a gifted animal communicator and has captured the attention of audiences nationwide and beyond, featuring on Seven Sharp, Close Up, Loading Docs, the documentary Who Killed Lucy Poodle, and Animal's Voice, as well as in the pages of New Zealand Woman's Weekly, That's Life, and various newspapers and magazines, both in New Zealand and internationally. Well done, Faye. Faye also supports people through soul journeying, and each journey is as unique as the soul. The journeying work might involve exploring ancestral energies, past lives, Akashic Records, guidance teams, or divine light activations. Faye's mission is to foster healing and enlightenment for humanity. She has been entrusted with the sacred Christed energies, a divine gift she utilizes to fulfill this mission. Beautiful stuff.
Thank you, thank you. It's always difficult to talk about yourself,
It
yeah,
is.
and yeah. So if I'm a little bit quiet on that, yeah, you know why. So,
It
mm,
is. It's really weird. I know when I had my first sort of website I was putting together, and I couldn't put in there about myself. I had to actually ask my daughter if she could
mm,
write something up. She said, "Yeah, I can." Like I was in Next magazine, and there was articles in there and Canadian
oh,
magazines and newspapers and stuff that linked in. And
mm.
she said, "Mum, you haven't got anything about that in there." So, oh, should I? She said, "Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah."
because we
Like
overlook all that. Yeah, because it's just part of like, okay, they just
I
happen.
know.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
weird thing, isn't it? But I am definitely getting way more used to all
Mm,
that now. But
mm,
yeah, it was hard. And when she actually sent me what she'd written up, I cried reading it. I'm like, oh my God, that
mm.
is me, isn't it?
I
Like,
know it's really,
I
really,
don't know.
yeah. But so how can I say oh gosh, we're doing so much work we never look at ourselves. Yeah. Mm.
No, we don't. We do the work on self, but we don't look at the progress maybe. And
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
just love what I do, so I just love doing it. I do it,
Mm.
and I never know who it's
Mm.
reaching or where it's reaching. It just is.
Yeah.
Hey, oh my goodness me. So I'm really keen to talk to you about the animal communication. I get that, I know for myself telepathically with my cats and dog, I can totally, they chat to me all the time and
Mm.
I them, and it's just a two-way. But a lot of people don't really get that. And I also get that the animals are an extension of us as well. Like if
Yeah.
something's going on with the animal or our fur baby, we look at this and here.
Mm.
So explain to me how did you get into doing this? Were you an aware, conscious child when you were little and knew what you were here to do, or was it something that you grew into?
Yeah, a bit of both, a bit of both.
Yeah.
As a child, I was highly aware, incredibly aware. I didn't start talking till I was 5, and anyway, the family thought I couldn't hear because I was just lived in my own little world. Hmm. And so I had to go off and have hearing tests, and they found out that I had perfect hearing. And so on my 5th birthday, I must have been a little bit adventurous, so it was a different lifestyle back then. I took off on my brother's trike and went down to this event centre, which was beautiful, where weddings were held. And I was riding it around, and there was roses, and I just loved it. And this man, he's sitting there on the bench, and he said to me, "It's all right, you can talk now." And the only reason I remember this because of impact it had on my family. So I rode home bike, and I got into a bit of trouble because I had to cross the road. And my birthday dinner was on, and I start talking, and my family just about fell over. And so, and so, yeah, and so I, like, um, as children, that intuition is so, so strong and powerful. And people that, after you're given childbirth, it's powerful, so powerful, and we recognize that, but we get caught up into the day and day stuff and the teachings and learnings, and we're here to be humans, of course, and we've, we sort of shuffle these away. And so for myself, I had a special dog that came into my life, and I was having problems with him, and I went to an animal communication workshop, and there was the most amazing people there, really well-known people that were working with different healing modalities, or had created so many changes for others. And so I'm sitting there, the person that had never done anything like this, and I was the one that ran for it. And those people in that room, there was quite a collection of people. They all started, referring animals to me and things like that. And so it was my calling. And from that dog, I started catching his messages, and I've forgotten how big the manuscript is, but it's like a 300,000 word manuscript talking about the species' reasons for being, the energy that they capture, um, the depth of, takes you up to greater universe and things like that. It starts off as a journey book and or manuscript. And anyway, so I've learned so, so much, but I'm really, really honoured to. I've always loved animals, and I'm really, really honoured that animals open up to me, because you reach them on such a depth of level. They share to do with their physical reality, but also their spiritual consciousness.
Mm.
And so, and they share all this information, and they can be so descriptive. They don't share things that are ever going to embarrass their family, anything like that. So people don't have to be concerned. Big secrets, the animals are such treasured, and so connected to people's hearts that they only share what's relevant. And so they might share something about their journey that relates to the human's journey, or they might share, like, 3 months ago, this happened. And I don't normally chat about specific clients. Because it's coming through me, I don't retain the information that animals share either.
Yeah.
And but this one is just because it's happened relevant just recently. And so a beautiful little dog who's ready to pass on over. And the person had been overseas in war zone as part of her job. And I didn't realize that. And the little dog said to her, "Look, I'm still going to be energetically with you. 3 months ago, I gave you a warning to move." And anyway, she explained, she got herself into a bunker. She said something just stirred her up to get into a bunker. And I said, yeah, because the little dog was sharing that. So energetically, she's in a different country. Her dog is here in New Zealand, or physically, I should say, but energetically, the dog's working with her, supporting her. So these roles that our animals have with us is just so extraordinary. We've just got no idea. Of course, they're on their own journey, and some of them is just to learn, and but some of them take on. Well, we've worked through a lot of karmic. Maybe I shouldn't call it karmic, but we understand that word. As you know, the whole world's ascending, and we've been going through a rebirthing process. And while that's been happening, things have been coming up, and so on. And many humans have asked for a lot in this lifetime, a lot to experience.
Mm,
And sometimes these animals are carrying that burden too. They've come in to actually, I'm going to take and support you, just like a human would come in to support someone. And so they're actually, presenting with different things that humans asked to experience. And so it's always like people that reach out to me is I get referrals from vets, or a lot of referrals from
oh,
previous people whose animals are supported, and or just people that do searches, of course, or follow me on Facebook. And so, yeah, but a lot of people reach out because, um, the animal's getting vet support, but they're looking for something else on top.
right. Yeah.
And every animal is going to share something different. I could have 6 horses with the same um, diagnose, but all going to share different needs because they've all got different energetic bodies. Hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
So the vets know of you and they pass you people on to you,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, yeah.
Wow,
I
that's
have
so
I have
cool.
beautiful vets that attend my workshops, and they're just really beautiful people. Vets have got such a hard job,
Yeah.
really hard, just like doctors and nurses or anyone that's involved in that sector. And
Yeah.
so without our vets, oh my gosh, I mean, they're doing such amazing work. And so, yes, I have vets overseas and in New Zealand that they just, when they know it's right, they'll just ask their person, like, consider going and chatting to Faye,
Wow,
and
that's so
taking it from there.
cool.
Yeah, and so it's just yeah, I mean, I honor what they do and they honor what I do,
Yeah.
because I'm coming from a holistic path and they are too. And even though they're working with Western medicine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I love that they're getting on board with that as well because they're such empaths and I see it in vets that I've been in touch with that find it really difficult.
Mm.
There's a lot of sorrow and a lot of sadness
It
and grief.
is.
Mm,
It is, and it's something they're having to deal with day in, day out,
yeah.
and it's really, really hard. The anything to do with um, life and death is really hard.
Yeah.
It's again, that's a calling, but it is something really hard, and I'm just so full of admiration anyone that works with people or
Mm,
animals
yeah.
in that role. And I know they frustrate us at times, sorry, vets, because they can't always give us the information, or the people don't want to hear what's been said.
Yeah, for sure.
And but that's like anything. We're not always ready for what's been said. But also the vets are left with that choice. People bring in their sorry for sharing this with people who are listening, but it's something for us to be highly aware of. Uh, People, will take their healthy animal in and ask for the vet to euthanize it. So they're in an awful position at times. Absolutely
Yeah.
horrible. Mm,
Yeah, for sure. I know. I know that part
mm,
for me, I find very difficult. Even in my old dog, he had a breast cancer, and
mm,
he was old, but that to make that decision,
mm.
was I just felt like it wasn't my choice to make. I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
And I did get, I connect because I talk to
Mm.
my animals all the time. I'm always in communication, always have been as a kid. And so, he gave me the okay.
They do. And this is a big thing that we have, when animals ask to be euthanized, and I've communicated with so many, and I can share from my own example. I used to have a lot of dogs. I used to breed Irish Wolfhounds until recently, until
Wow.
my last one passed away, which was actually the dog that sent me on, onto the journey of becoming a I'm going to use these words, professional animal communicator.
Yeah.
And so it was a long weekend, and the vet came round 4 or 5 times to actually euthanize him. And each time she turned up, he was happy as could be. And she said, "Oh, look, I'll come back and check on him." And anyway, and that happened. But he wanted to pass away by himself. But I've had other animals, and like his sister, she could not wait to get to the vet.
Mm.
And so it's always different. And this is a big thing, that, we always wonder of animals, like, do they want to be helped? Do they want to be assisted? And many do, many do. Um, and they have a totally different way of viewing it to it, because their spiritual consciousness is so aware, and they're so present, and living in the now is just like being aware of their physicality, but also of more than that.
Yeah.
And so and they're just so aware, and just it's like, oh, okay, I'm ready. um and I and my journey isn't to be here anymore. Or they share appropriate words that are, of course, appropriate to the family, and they come up with their own, I'm going to call it their love language at this stage. And there's always validation, so the person knows it's from the animal.
Yeah.
And just like the little dog I was sharing about previously mentioned about, wanting to go with a specific coloured blanket and things like that to be wrapped up in it, and all these other things that they've done, which, I hadn't been to their home or ventured into their lifestyle. And so such strong validation.
Mm.
And so there's no question. And so it's one of those beautiful things. Sorry if I get teary.
Yeah.
No, because the little dog I've just been talking about, she's just passed on over just now. And so anyway, I got to catch my breath. I'm sorry for that.
No, don't be sorry.
I just felt her
Absolutely
go.
don't. Totally
Yeah,
get it. Totally
I
get it.
just felt her go. And so yeah, and so I've just tried to take my emotions out of it so I can talk rationally.
It's okay.
Um, and where were we? But they talk about the journey of not being, it's not an ending, it's about what's waiting for them, and
Yes.
what glory and all that's ahead. And it's not just about like, this is the end, there's nothing else there. It's all about what's ahead, what they've got to, and it's just so beautiful, so beautiful. um and so, that's where they focus their energy on, is like, yeah, they just see it as something sensational that, passing on over. Whereas us humans, of course,
I
and
know.
our animals grieve too, and animals grieve too.
I do.
Um, so I had a Clydesdale horse, beautiful Clydesdale, and I lived in Auckland at this stage, and he came into my life when I was in my early 20s. And so he used to take the Hare Krishnas down the Northwestern Motorway into Queen Street every Friday, and used to be their working horse. And he came to live with me, and and he came into my life at the same time as I got a little baby donkey.
Oh.
And so they were the best buddies. And so when he passed over, my donkeys will cry, and you actually see tears. My
Mm.
donkey refused to move. She just lay on the ground, and tears just came out of her eyes. She didn't move for about a month.
Oh.
And she was really heartbroken. And so, and I used to, I just used to leave one. The dogs would sit with her and things like that, and hang out with her all day until she could stir herself up. The only time she hopped up was the toilet, and basically, so animals have got so much depth of connection amongst themselves too. So animals grieve too, and so and they take on our grieving too.
Mm,
They take on,
they do.
yeah, and so they end up, you know, they love us so greatly, and we're going through pain or we're having a lot of stress in our life. Our animals take it on,
Mm.
just like
They,
us empaths take it on for others.
they do. Have you found that they will sacrifice them? And I don't know if sacrifice, I presume it was agreement.
Yeah.
Um, but what I had was I had a dog. And she was a gorgeous thing. She talked, like,
Mm.
actually, and she would she would just do a little bark, but she'd be looking directly into your eye, and she would be communicating with me that it's time to go to bed. Come on, it's time to go to
Mm.
bed. She'd sit in the hallway doorway
Mm.
for me to go because she slept on my bed with me. And she was just amazing. Very close, very awesome dog, very, very intelligent. But anyway, this dog got overnight, she just dropped basically. And I took her to the
Mm.
vet. She didn't pass away straight away, but I took her to the vet. I did think and wonder whether she'd eaten some rat poison. Um, anyway, they tested for that, and no, it wasn't. They have an antidote type thing that they can give them, and
Yeah.
and so she would have been all right, but no. And by the morning, she went in that afternoon. By the morning, the following morning, she'd passed over. The vet rang me at 7 to say that she'd passed, and I was just so shocked. She had shown no sign of anything, nothing. She was absolutely well and healthy and all that. And then they did an autopsy. They asked if I wanted to do that, and I said, well, I am keen to know what she
Yeah.
passed with, and it was lung cancer.
Yeah.
Now,
I was just going to touch on that. Um, is it all right for me to button?
oh yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Because my sensing of it is that she took on the disease of someone else.
That's exactly what I thought. I thought, oh my God. And I
Mm.
knew who it was. It
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
myself. It
No,
was a
it wasn't
very,
you because
very
I was
close,
asking that
very
in case
close
people,
friend of mine.
yeah,
And
in case people wondering what I was doing. Because as soon as you start talking about it, I could feel her and I could feel her compassion and I could feel how she worked with you, but also she's still around you.
yes,
But she took on specific disease from someone else because it was like, yeah, it was just something that she wanted to do and could
yeah,
do, and
yes.
and and not to see it as sacrifice. Um, um, Now this beautiful dog, Amanda's beautiful dog. Could you tell everyone what her name is?
Hail.
Yeah, she has it. The spectrum of light coming out of her is incredible, and she's got an angelic frequency.
Mm,
Which so while she was um, a living dog, she was wearing her angel wings. She
yes.
had the habit of finding the people that really needed her
Yeah.
and turning on her charm. She's used that word charm and making them feel a little bit better through her antics or just being quiet. So they would walk with a lighter footstep. She came into her living role to help you, but also she did have a contract with this particular man and to help sure that um, his illness was tied up into like I'm going to call it, from what she's sharing, um, past life, um, Atlantis. He's been drowned, okay?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And so that was something that he asked to work through in this lifetime. And of course, we don't always make healthy choices in our lifestyles either.
Yeah.
So not everyone that gets cancer, of course, or might have got cancer or anything like that. It's not always past lives or anything like that. It can be just our genetics we've inherited. So for people not to get too thinking, oh, that's happened to her because it's past life or whatever. I mean, we're here as living beings, first and
Yeah.
foremost. Mm.
Yeah. I totally got it from Hale that that's what had happened.
Yeah.
And then the next day, once I got her back home, I laid
Mm.
her in her basket and blankies and all the things that she had. And the friend came round and said, crying, sitting with Hale's body, and she said to me, "You won't believe this, but I think Hale took it was my lung cancer." I said, "That is
Mm.
exactly what I was getting, totally." So
Yeah.
yeah, and it was a beautiful, beautiful act of love, like actual. And
Mm.
yeah, but she was incredible, that dog. And in the same at the same time property, not same time, but a few years later, one of my cats, her name was Toffee, and she was a shorter tortoise shell, fluffy, gorgeous thing. She is very particular. You only touch me when I allow you to. She'd let me anytime, but anyone else, no, don't touch me. Loved her own space, was all that. And her and I were very connected, some more than others, with myself, I find. But anyway, this one I was really connected. And we were walking up to the letterbox. I was living in the country. We're walking up to the letterbox and she's chatting. She used to talk to the birds. They'd answer her. And it was so funny. But anyway, she's talking away to me. And I said to her, "You want to go?" And I heard, and she said, and I said to her, "But you don't have to." She's basically saying, "Yes, I do." And we got to the letterbox. She kept walking a few steps ahead of me. She turned around, looked at me, said, "See you later."
Yeah.
And I'm standing there going, if this is what you have to do, then this is what you have to do. But I'm really, don't really want you
Mm.
to. Oh my
Yeah.
God, she was such a cute thing. And anyway, she just trotted off across the dirt road and into the paddock next across the road. And that was her, never came back again.
Never
She
returned.
again. She was off to
Yeah.
someone else, you
On
know?
her mission.
Exactly.
And sometimes, I just remember years ago. And when I said, like, I remember some stories, but I remember this, and it was someone that contacted me. Their cat had gone missing years ago, and they wanted to know what happened. And so, and so the story was that the cat only was very thankful for the home, for them coming, and I can't remember. The cat came from, I think it came from a pet shop, and it's a kitten. Anyway, and said, "Yeah, I just came to your place because I had to get to such and such." And they did investigate it. And so, um, um, and sure enough, the cat was living at this home, and it was a little girl who was bedridden, and the cat had been hanging around the
Oh,
house, even though, and kept going back to their house until the mother would allow the cat to stay, and then there
no.
was no point going back. And so we just don't know what missions animals are on. And sometimes it's like, got to get there, got to get there, and can't apply that to all animals because we have, how can I say, we have a lot of stray animals, cats and so on, that have been dumped or have never been spayed or neutered, and they're not always living the most wonderful life. Sometimes it's their choices, but sometimes it's humans, because us humans do have to take some responsibility for some things.
Yeah, we do. Absolutely,
Mm,
we do.
mm.
Yeah, and do you find I've found that they reincarnate very quickly, the animals, and they
Some
if
do,
they're choosing to come back in as animal,
some
um,
do, some do,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Some do, depending on
yeah, depending.
depending on it's so vast, it's hard to generalize it down. And if, say, an animal had a sudden accident, and it hadn't finished its soul mission with that person, then they could come back super fast because there was more to do. But the other thing is, when they do come back and reincarnate into a person's life, they are totally different. Sometimes I'll try to give some, you know, advice in some way, and if a person clicks, so this would have been 20 years ago, and it was way before social media. It was blog pages back then, and
Hmm.
so he had blog groups, and so I belonged to an Irish Wolfhound blog group, and anyway, they'd lost their dog, and then they got this puppy, and I said to him, "Oh, gee, yes, you know." Basically, the dog had reincarnated back super fast. The Irish Wolfhound, they had them noted as special needs dogs, so she could take them on aeroplanes and things like that. I can't remember. I think she might have suffered from anxiety, something like that. And so in USA, so the dog could travel with her wherever she went, or have taken into shops and so on. But now that puppy went into the dog box where all the toys were, and knew exactly what toys to bring out. That was that dog's toys. Mm.
Right.
And because I said to her, this is your dog reincarnated. And she said, well, it's really strange because some of this behavior is like going to particular toys, even going off to get the bed, which was that dog's bed, wanting to lie on that one, not the new puppy bed and things like that. Mm.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
A-
It's
And so sometimes I'll try to show you, but not always, because it's about like the new journey. And that brings me back to another story, and this person will not mind me sharing it. So she was in a relationship, and her partner said to her, if we get a dog, it's going to be a Jack Russell, and we're going to call it Jack. And so anyway, they went off to West Coast for a holiday and stayed at this hotel, and the people had this Jack Russell. And they said, "Oh, Jack Russell, so cool, so cool. Oh, I love, love, love." And they said, "Oh, you know, daughter's dog, she rehoused the dog. It didn't work out. They brought the dog back. And you wouldn't believe it, the dog's name was Jack."
Yep.
So anyway, they come back with Christchurch with this beautiful Jack Russell. And Linda just adored the Jack Russell. Oh, she just loved the Jack Russell so greatly. And she started to move out the relationship she was in, because the animal's here to support her dog's here to support her. And anyway, Jack passed on, and then her son started working at a pet shop, and the pet shop owner gave him a designer breed, which they had to pay off. She came home with it. She said, "What am I supposed to do?" And that dog's name was Buddy. Anyway, Buddy didn't tell me for maybe 9 months. So she was visiting, and with Buddy, and I said, "Oh, Buddy's Jack reincarnated."
Hmm.
But because she wasn't to focus on Buddy as Jack, because Jack was her crutch to get her out, to
Right.
make her
Moving on.
independent from a relationship, and Buddy brought something different into the family.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
Beautiful.
animals will sometimes reincarnate back into families, sometimes they won't, and they're
Yep.
not always the same species. And
Yep.
occasionally, I've met, well, more than occasionally, I've had animals sharing about their human experiences they've experienced as a human and things like that. Their
Mhm.
off-planet experiences
Yeah.
from where they've been seeded from. Hmm.
Yeah. I've got a cat who is, he's always come back as quite a butty tabby.
Hmm.
Um, and this is his third incarnation with me in this lifetime, and he's always looked the same. The first body actually was quite a fluffier cat, but this second two times, Saga and now Lacey, he's the same tabby, same body, to where this time and incarnated very quickly after he's passed, and he's just lived to the life where he's now time to go, old cat. But oh my God, he's so funny. And this time he came back in. He's one of my oldest soul buddies, like he
Uh-huh.
is. And we just, my kids, my two girls, been on my own for many years, and they said to me, Mum, if you had a husband, it'd be him.
Yeah.
It's like he's my man,
Yeah, yeah.
And oh
It's
God, he's so
you
funny,
can't
but
replace it, can you?
he
Yeah.
just loves it. And
Mm,
this time when he came in, he was very, I couldn't tell whether he was male or female. I was like, I
mm,
can't actually tell whether you're a girl or a boy when he was a little
yeah.
kid. And I took him to get him fixed. We booked him in, and I couldn't also get his name. Usually they give me their name, and I couldn't pick it up with him. I'm like, I can't get your name. Why are you not giving me your name? And it wasn't until I thought about him as a girl, a female, that Lacey just flicked in straight away. And I went, oh my God, its name's Lacey, not
Mm,
even knowing if it was a girl or boy completely. Took him in to get fixed. And then when I picked him up, because I said, I don't even know whether it's a girl or boy, and the vet sort of, or the nurse laughed at me. Come pick him up. The vet said, it's a very big boy.
yeah, big boy. I'm Lacey.
And I said, oh my God,
Perfect.
and I've called him Lacey. His name, he gave me Lacey. And I'm giggling, going home thinking, oh my gosh, what's this about? Honestly, this lifetime in this
Mm,
time body, he is very masculine, but he's very feminine. He's got a
yeah,
very, he's really come in this new time now with this balance.
yeah. It's a
Um,
divine feminine, divine masculine
Totally.
imbalance.
It's so
And
cool.
yeah,
I just love it. And
yeah.
he cruises, he's cruisy.
Mm,
He's just such a cool cat, man. I love him to bits. I do love
yeah.
him so much. So
It's
yeah,
so
but
beautiful. So, so beautiful. Yeah, because I could feel his energy and I thought, oh, yeah, he hasn't really got a gender. He's just, yeah,
no,
which is
no,
because yeah, we'll refer to him as a he because that's how we
totally. We have to
yeah,
because that's his
yeah,
gender as such,
yeah,
but it's sort of not.
yeah,
So
yeah,
cute.
and yeah, regardless of whether the spayed, neutered, or what have you, it's just so really interesting. So, in this lifetime, his present lifetime, he's asked to work with some of the divine femininity, but to hold that he has to be in the divine masculine energy to help bring us some of the divine feminine energy forward. Mm,
Yeah. No, he's a dag. He really is a
mm,
dag. But he's really quite cruisy. He can defend himself though. He'll get in,
yeah,
he's quite masculine when he comes into
mm,
that place. But
yeah,
otherwise he doesn't want to fight. He just sees on a peace train and
mm.
you know,
It's so
he-
cool.
I know he is. He's a really cool guy. Really
New
cool.
age guy, new age guy.
Yeah, yeah, he is.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
really is.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
you look at yeah, I don't know. Well, not all, of course. But uh, from my generation to so I'm a baby boomer, and these 20-year-olds now, men, they're so different. Yeah. Mm,
Yeah. Yeah,
mm,
definitely. They are
mm,
so
mm,
different.
mm,
My other cat, I've got two, and the other guy, he's a black and so needy. He's so
mm.
needy. We found, well, my daughter's friends found him in the middle of the road in a box with his little brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And it was so sad. Somebody just putting them there to be run over so that,
Yeah.
get rid of
This
them,
is,
just stick them in the
I
middle of
know,
the
this
road.
is us
It's
humans,
just shocking. And I think
it's,
because he was off his mum so early that he's quite
mm,
needy,
he's
drives
got
me.
this, yeah, sense of abandonment about him,
Yeah,
which he operates from, and he knows he's secure, but he's always insecure. So it's that
yeah,
constant
he is. Yeah,
battle going on. But us humans, when we hear these stories of animals that been put in boxes and maybe left at the roadside, little kittens that could get run over if someone doesn't find them, and so on, or thrown out of car windows.
yeah, no.
They really stir humanity up because um, when we hear about animal cruelty, it really stirs up humanity. When we hear about
Yes.
human cruelty, we're quite blind to it.
I think we've become almost. unconditioned to it, like
Yeah,
we all conditioned to it, really. I think
yeah,
we just there's so much of it that we've come to a point, I think, where it's like, oh yeah, there's another one. Well, and there's this hopelessness in a sense of how can we do anything about it? We can't do anything about it. It's what's happening. Look at, we look at
mm,
Palestine even, and we go, well,
mm,
that's blatant murder. There's so
yeah,
much blatant murder going on, and
mm,
nothing's being done about that. So I think we've got to a point where there's still the empathy, and I know there's a lot of compassion, but it's just this, we can't change it. We're not changing it. It's not changing.
no,
And
but the
you have to
animals,
somehow tune
yeah,
out to it so that you don't have that constant grief.
yeah, because we get to overload with it all, and
Yeah.
but it is so when there has been and sorry to harp back on this, and I try to have the right words to explain, but animals are here to open up the hearts
Mm,
for people in
yeah.
case they're on their journey too. And it doesn't matter if it's a feral um, or cat, dog, what have you, or it's an
Yeah.
native or endemic species, or domestic species.
Mm,
And so when we hear of animal cruelty, or anything that is atrocious, um, us humans, we rally round. We really do.
yeah.
And we really think, oh, and we become, so protesting. And it really reminds us of our humanity so
Mm,
greatly. And they're holding so much of our heart energy, and we step into more of that heart energy.
mm.
It's not to crush us, but it's to make us more highly aware.
Yeah, it
And
is.
so it's just one of those things, and it's something that I've always just think, gee, we, close our eyes to some things, and other things we just can never close our eyes to. Mm.
No, no, that's right. And I think I mean, it's beautiful to see so many people
Mm.
working with and for animal now, like
Yeah,
there's so much more change that's happening. And that is because we're saying no, we're not condoning it anymore. It's a lot with a lot of things going on in the
yeah,
planet at the moment. Everyone's starting to use their voice, stand up, and say, actually, this is not okay. And we
mm.
need more of that. We really need more of that to happen, particularly with the animals as well. There's still a lot of
Yeah.
cruelty going on out there, and
Oh, I
people
see what the numbers
that
that's
just that
unwanted.
want,
Mm.
yeah, they
Mm.
want these animals, but they're not prepared to look after them properly, and all of that.
Yeah,
It's a sad
yeah,
thing, but
it is sad, and sometimes people's circumstances change.
yep,
And one thing that I've learned from the animals, if they feel loved, they feel loved, and um and sometimes someone's got faced with maybe a $15,000 vet operation and they can't afford it, and the animal
yeah,
just says, I feel loved, it's unimportant.
yeah, I know. It's
But it
good.
doesn't help the human, when and because they're struggling to even feed themselves, let alone facing an operation like that. So
Yeah,
it's one of those big things is that yeah, animals that love us never want us to feel guilty
no,
over
they don't.
anything.
No, absolutely. I've learnt that over
Mm.
my life, making decisions where I had to.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's horrible, and it's yeah. I'm
Mm.
never liked it. Don't want to have to be put in that situation ever
Mm.
again, either. But
Yeah,
I also know that it's just my humanness that is struggling with it. In the
I know.
high realm, they got the okay. They're giving me the okay. It's all
Yeah.
good, and
Mm.
they're okay about doing what they need to do next, and
Mm.
it's us that tangle it up and that human emotion.
I
But
know. I
we're
know.
learning to get through that a bit more.
Yeah, we're just gorgeous. We're just gorgeous. We're all here to learn and while we're in the, it's part of our duty to learn, but yeah, I mean, we're great teachers to the animals, and the teachers are great teachers to us, but we can say that to many things
Yes,
like the trees and um, the land that we live on. We're so
exactly.
interconnected. Mm,
We are totally
mm.
that. So just to get on now with the sacred Christed energies. Tell
Oh,
us
okay.
about that, Faye.
Well, that's really interesting. And so now I can't remember when they were gifted to me, the actual date. What I can remember is what was happening. And so I lived rural Christchurch at back then. I had a beautiful lifestyle block. And there was a huge fire happening just
Oh yeah,
with lifestyle blocks. It happened on the block behind us, and they thought it was going to wipe out whole of Lincoln. And it was the biggest fire in Christchurch. Sure, they had that one on the Port Hills a couple of years ago.
right.
And so it's happening in a paddock before us, and all this information to download all this information. So I started recording it, and then I was running around putting the sprinklers on, the irrigators in case trying to make everything wet until the power went off because the power lines got burnt down.
Oh gosh, yes.
And no one could go past. I lived up a cul-de-sac, and they had all the civil defence people weren't allowing anyone to drive down the road, and so I was going down feeding them because all our food's going bad in the fridge. And so that went on for, I can't remember, 2 or 3 days until if we left our home, we wouldn't have been able to get back. And I thought, yeah, we'll leave if we have to, but it
Yes.
felt okay. So I was bringing down all this information, but then a friend of mine, it was really, she was up on the Port Hills, or can't remember, it's Port Hills, or Governor's Bay. I'm not too sure. And she was receiving the same downloads too. She actually came and took level 1, level 2 with me. Um, so anyway, so it's like Reiki. It's a vibration you go into, and then there's different attunements depending on how far you go with it. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful energy to work with. And so that happened all those years ago, and I should have actually. I just can't think how long ago it was.
No, I
Yeah.
get it. We
It might
lose
have been
track
10 years
of time.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And absolutely extraordinary energy to work with, and so beautiful. And of course, as the planet's evolving, of course, the energies we're working with are evolving.
Yeah, for sure they are. Well, that's beautiful. And so, do you take others through to activate that within them? Like, is there a process like you might learn Reiki? Are you
Yeah, yeah.
teaching? Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't had a teaching workshop for quite a few years. I'm sort of doing everything online now,
yeah.
and I just haven't quite worked out. I keep thinking, oh, I must actually do it. So, and it's so interesting when people come together and they start doing healings on each other, and the changes they feel and the energy that they're experiencing it. And I keep thinking, oh, how can I actually do this online?
Mm,
And
yeah.
but I know I can because I can pair them up in breakout rooms. So I've just got to get out of my head and do it. Yeah.
I know it is a different. I've just been saying that to friend, well, a
Mm,
friend, yes, but that I did everything in person, and now
mm,
it's transferring it online. It is working out to be the same
yeah.
energy. So
Mm,
it's the mind that says, "Hang on, we're doing it through this thing
yeah.
here."
Yeah. And so,
you
yeah.
know but
Uh,
actually it's actually people are what I'm getting back is they're feeling it tangibly like they would if they
mm,
were in the room with me. So it's
yeah,
it's the same, and this is across the world, like globally into
it
Sweden and
is.
wherever.
Mm,
So I've started breaking down that mental barrier that's saying that
mm.
it's a bit different.
Yeah,
And,
Well, yeah, I'm doing all my workshops online now. So animal communication ones and all sorts. I done
we-
two human and soul records ones, connection, that human hooks animal soul bond, and we've gone into the records to look at relationship that you have and the higher reasons involved and so on. And so just the Sacred Christ ones, I haven't done it online, but I can feel that, like, yep, it's always going to be timing, and
yeah,
it's always about when the people come together, when things are supposed to happen, and there's no reason why putting two people in a breakout room and them sharing the healing with each other, they're not going to, be able to actually experience it how they have to.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And so where are you based, Faye?
I'm in Christchurch, yeah.
Oh,
Mm,
yeah, you are still there. Yeah.
mm.
Okay.
I'm still Christchurch. So originally I'm from Auckland, so I'm born and bred in Auckland, and I've lived in Christchurch 24 years, yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
24, 25 years. Mm.
Yeah. So a bit of shaking up down there going on.
Oh, plenty, plenty, yeah. But I learned a lot because of the quakes, and from the animals, and yeah, I learned a lot. So
Did they give you warnings when it was going to happen, or was it not really like that?
they did, and now the first time, the September quake, I couldn't sleep. And I could feel something, I knew something was going to happen. I actually had a press came to interview me. I can't remember, weeks beforehand, and I said, "Oh,
Hmm.
there's going to be a disaster here in Christchurch." But I said, "You can't print it." I didn't know what sort of disaster because the animals were telling me, and so that was all right. But and that so with the September quakes, so I ended up energetically at Castle Hill, and I was in the temples in Castle Hill with Hero, which is a goddess, and I was there, and then everything came crashing down. And so it's one of those big things. I was doing a environmental management diploma, and at that time, and so I was rural. We didn't have water because our pump, we had no electricity, but my telephone worked. If you can
Oh,
believe it.
I can
February
believe it.
quake. Yeah,
Yeah.
February quake. Now had what we have in February quake. I think we had electricity and we had no internet, and so it was the reverse.
Thanks.
But I learned a lot because of the animals. And I don't work with lost animals nowadays. I find them really energetically draining. I'm wiped off my feet for days afterwards. But in the September quake, I was running around because my telephone was working, and I was running around, finding all these people who had lost their animals, and that was and reuniting them. Once I grounded the animal to the Earth Star chakra, uh, they got home or we found the animal. It was
Right.
that they were so lost their bearing so completely. Now the February quake, that was totally different. And the electric magnetic energy was so different. Animal could have been next door and would
Yeah.
have no idea.
Yeah.
And so I learned so much from the animals, and just even messages that they shared beforehand, and so on. And it was just quite extraordinary. And messages that they were sharing after the quakes.
Right.
And one thing that I was having through New Zealand at this stage before the quakes, and I thought it was really crazy because I thought, oh, I've got to keep telling people the same story because people would contact me and say, "Oh, my horse reared on me," and why? It's not usual behaviour. And this was all on the east coast of New Zealand, not just in Christchurch. So I've got
Right.
Waiheke Island, Tauranga, Auckland, Warkworth, right down the whole east coast. And they kept saying the earth plates are shifting.
Right.
And this was happening not a week before the quakes. This was happening weeks and weeks and weeks before the quakes. I kept thinking, same repeated message.
Mm.
And I kept thinking, jeepers, that's what they kept sharing, were getting disturbed from feeling the earth plates shifting.
Wow. Yeah. You got to
And
start listening, when there's a
yeah,
repeat.
you do. And I know and of course I never really I think when I was a child I experienced a tiny little earthquake in Auckland, a tiny little one.
Yeah.
And I'd never experienced an earthquake. And of course, I had, I've experienced. I lived at Albany when the tornado hit and things like that. So I experienced those type of things for our disasters we had back then,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
nothing of this magnitude. And so, it's a totally different thing for me to experience and for majority of people in New Zealand. But what was really beautiful was the amount of heart energy that came into Christchurch. Absolutely beautiful at the time.
Yeah.
The caring people, um, people that were misplaced. I had people that I barely knew. I might have communicated with the animals, and they reached out and they said, if I need somewhere, we've got a home for you.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And it was just so beautiful. But people's behavior at the time was quite insecure at times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I could, luckily for me, I understood. I had to go to the shops every day because we didn't have power or electricity. And Hornby Mall hadn't was still open, so we went there. And people's behavior was so different, so different because they'd lost their base chakra.
Yeah. A lot of fear,
Mm,
eh?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was just, I, yeah, I have to say I did learn a lot because of the quakes. I really did. Mm,
Yeah. It was interesting. I'd had this really vivid, like either in dream state, you're in your
mm,
dream, emotional stuff, but other than that, I get vision, and it's like going forward into that space that where it's happening or what it's going to happen.
yeah.
And I had this very clear, as though I'm looking at this picture here right now, touching. And it was seeing the cathedral and the statues that were in the alcoves on the outside of a building, right? So outside of a chapel,
Yeah.
cathedral, and as what looking at these, the hands that they were moved out, like there was a
Wow.
hole in the side there where they could move their hands out, and then
Mm,
these other hands came in, and I'm looking at that and I'm going, oh my goodness. And then I heard Christ's church is going
mm,
to change hands.
yeah.
And I went, oh, Christ's church is going to change hands. Okay. And then what I saw was this, it was a courtyard, and there's like a it was a steel fenced grave, basically, like a grave. And then I got underneath that was going to be a time capsule that was going to be brought up that was going
Mm,
to, and I'm like, wow, okay. Next
yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
And I go,
It's,
oh my God, Christchurch. Like for me, it was that this has been in the
mm,
hands of something that was not Christ.
yeah.
It wasn't Christ energy, but it's coming back to Christ energy. And it's going
Mm,
to create something that's going to create that change. And you're saying about the heart energy coming in. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, all of us pulled out energy too,
mm.
as we did the
Christchurch.
cyclone
Mm,
of Gabriel and
mm.
Hawke's Bay and all of that, like it just is what we do.
It is, and it was, and so it was a time for some people. Um, it was overwhelming. I would have people contacting me, and oh, we've got to fly to Christchurch on such a date. I'm going to be in Christchurch 2 hours. Is it safe to come? And I just thought, I'm not playing into your fear.
No,
But
gosh, how can
I
you?
live in Christchurch, and I just said, would say to them, like, I kept getting like people would be reaching out asking me that I'm not actually making fun of them because when you're fearful over something, it's
Oh,
awful because it
it's
ends up governing
horrible.
your life, and
Yes,
we all have fears.
yes,
But I just thought it's so interesting, like how we evolved has totally evolved. And my daughter had just started high school, um, and 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 she was having that bit of freedom to go places, and then of course it all stopped.
yeah,
All the kids stayed home and became
yeah,
insular,
yeah,
and so
yeah.
all these things impact. They have a bigger impact than we could ever realize on that respect. Yeah. Mm.
They do, but they do bring humanity together,
Mm.
and heart, like you say, and
Mm.
there was so much, like we are saying, fear that ran afterwards because everyone
Mm.
was afraid there was going to be more of this,
Mm.
but that there was what I found sort of difficult to know that was going on down there. And gosh, I could be helping so many people. But
Mm.
we had such a mass wave of ones moving from down that
Yeah.
way up into this land, Northland.
Mm. Mm.
It was incredible. And a lot of them weren't moving because of the earthquakes either. They were
Mm.
just knowing that it was actually time to move.
Time
And
to move.
there was
Yeah.
there was a big wave of them come through.
Yeah.
And
A- and you
yeah,
talked about the time capsule, and I did receive these type of messages from the animals beforehand, and of course I had no idea, that's
yeah,
all these things, and so it's so interesting in the
mm,
respect that 3 months beforehand the animals had this whole awareness of what was
yes, yes.
going to happen.
Yeah.
Or not
Yes.
every animal, but of course many
No,
did. Yeah.
many, and that was confirming one from the other to the next. It was like, well, yeah, there's something to listen to here. Faye, on
Even
this,
mm. Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Yep.
So
Mm.
you go.
Mm. I was just going to say, even the daybirds' behavior would
Yeah,
change,
I was
and
gonna
things like that,
say,
because we got the
yeah.
different quakes. And our elderly cat, who was so old, someone had sent me some vibrational essences down to help with shocking trauma. And I thought, oh, I'll just put my dog water. Anyway, the cat couldn't stand my dogs and lived in another part of the house. And the cat ventured out. This was a massive house, so it wasn't a normal sized house. Anyway, found his way to the dog water and he started drinking the water. And then, like 10 or 15 minutes later, it was very close. We had maybe our third or fourth biggest quake. So he knew
Gosh.
he needed to get those vibrational essences in him, and
Mm,
so he was going to navigate through this massive house yeah, I'm going to go and the sensing of
yeah.
what they can sense is incredible, absolutely incredible.
Yes. It is. It is.
Mm, mm,
Oh, it's so beautiful that you're
mm,
here speaking to them and working with them and
mm,
working with those who are sharing their lives with them as
mm.
well. And so yeah, I'm sure there'll be more people reaching out to you once they see this
Yeah,
as oh
it's
my
been
goodness.
it's
You
been
need to
wonderful to spend time with you,
yeah,
Mandy. Thank
it's
you.
been
It's just
beautiful. Thank you
mm,
for coming in and thank you for doing all you're doing and yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
and
So
likewise, and thank you
much.
for inspiration that you share with so many.
Oh, thank you for
This is
that.
beautiful. Mm.
Oh, much love, Faye.
Okay.
Mwah.
Okay.
And
Thank you. Okay.
all the
Mm.
best.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Bye.
Thank you.